Today, we're diving into the story of an AI model so powerful, so potentially catastrophic, that it forced the US government to hit the emergency brakes. This is the story of the Mythos model.
I mean, seriously, just read that question. It sounds like the plot of a sci-fi thriller, right? But back in April of 2026, this became stone-cold reality. The Federal Reserve and the Treasury Department, they didn't get together to talk about interest rates. They met to talk about a piece of code. So what on earth could make an AI a matter of national financial security?
Well, this quote from the Treasury Secretary pretty much says it all. Listen, when officials at this level start using phrases like systemic risk, you know it's serious. That means the very foundations of our entire financial system are at stake. This was never about a clever chatbot. This was about the stability of, well, everything.
So let's get into it. What exactly is this threat? We're not talking about a physical weapon. We're talking about something that could be way more dangerous, an AI that basically functions as a master key for cyber warfare.
Meet the Mythos model, created by the AI company Anthropic. Now, other AIs, they could find weaknesses in code, which is actually great for defense. But Mythos does something terrifyingly different. It doesn't just find the cracks in the wall. It autonomously builds the battering ram to knock the whole thing down.
And this is where the scale of the problem just becomes staggering. Anthropic's previous model, which was already state-of-the-art, could find around 500 vulnerabilities. But Mythos doesn't just find them, it creates weaponized exploits. We're talking a leap from finding 500 problems to creating over 10,000 ready-made weapons. That is a completely different universe of threat.
Just take a second and let that number sink in. Over 10,000. That's not a list of potential weaknesses. That's an arsenal of ready-to-use cyber attacks, all generated by a single AI. In the wrong hands, that kind of power could unleash a wave of digital chaos that would make history.
Anthropic's own CEO called this a step change. And this slide nails the analogy. We've gone from having a scout who can spot a weak point in a castle wall to an AI that can instantly design and build an entire fleet of siege engines to bring that wall crashing down. That's the leap in power we're talking about.
Now, you'd think an AI this dangerous would be a closely guarded secret, right? Locked away in some digital Fort Knox. And that was the plan. But all it took was one single server error to turn a top-secret research project into a full-blown public crisis.
And look at how fast everything spiraled. It all kicks off on March 26th with a server leak about a project codenamed Capybara. Less than 2 weeks later, Anthropic is already announcing a containment plan. Then, bam! The very next day, the government yanks Wall Street execs into an emergency meeting. By April 21st, the fear is that Mythos is already out in the wild. This whole thing went from zero to a global crisis in under a month.
And oh yeah, the public definitely noticed. This chart shows a 10,000% spike in search interest for Mythos AI in just 1 month. The secret was out, the panic was real, and the entire world woke up to the reality of AI cyber weapons almost overnight.
So, the cat is out of the bag, the government's on high alert, and Anthropic has to act fast. Their response wasn't to hide the AI, but to try and control its power, to turn the weapon into a shield. They called it Project Glasswing.
So what exactly is Project Glasswing? Anthropic calls it an ethical quarantine. The core idea is simple. You have to fight fire with fire. They give a very select group of trusted partners limited access to Mythos, letting them use its incredible power for good, to find and patch security holes before anyone with bad intentions can find them first.
The process itself is brilliantly simple, but absolutely crucial. First, Mythos does what it does best. It finds a critical flaw in a system. But, and this is the key, instead of building an attack, that flaw is immediately trapped in a secure digital sandbox. From there, a defensive patch is created and rushed out to their partners. It's a race against the clock, using the AI's own speed to build the defense.
And this is no small operation. We are talking about a massive corporate defense alliance. Over 50 of the biggest names in tech and finance, companies you definitely know, like Apple, Cisco, NVIDIA, and Goldman Sachs, they're all part of this network now, working together to stay one step ahead of the very threat Mythos itself represents.
You see, the Mythos incident wasn't just a temporary crisis. It marked a fundamental, irreversible turning point in how we have to think about artificial intelligence. The whole dream of open, democratized AI for everyone just ran headfirst into a very dangerous new reality.
And it's important to remember we've kind of been here before.
Back in the 1990s, powerful encryption software was literally classified as a munition by the US government, and you couldn't just export it. We're seeing that exact same logic being applied today, but to the most advanced AIs.
And this slide just captures the entire shift perfectly. For years, the guiding philosophy of Silicon Valley was to democratize AI, to put its power into everybody's hands. Well, the new reality, after Mythos, is that the most powerful AIs are just too dangerous for that. They're now being classified and controlled just like any other advanced weapon system.
And that leaves us with the critical and frankly unanswered question for our future. As we step into this new era where the most advanced code is treated like a weapon, who gets to decide how it's used? Who polices the guardians? That's the challenge we're all facing now.